Start recording?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Probably should have done that first.
That's our intro now. That is officially our intro.
Yeah, that's it. Hello, podcast world. This is Not the Worst Podcast, and this is episode 3 of our little adventure. I am JD, and I'm joined by my co-host, Anthony. And we are going to talk a little military stuff and then a bunch of gaming stuff. Just because the military thing is funny. So it's worth talking about.
It may be depressing too.
Yeah, it's a little depressing. It actually kind of fits with what we talked about last week, but we'll get into that. I don't know that there's much else to say before we break into the topics. We've been playing a lot of Satisfactory together.
Almost too much.
If you're into factory building games where you kind of automate processes and build giant mechanical marvels, Satisfactory is pretty fun and it's super addicting. Like that game even reminds you when you've been playing for 6 hours, but you don't realize it until they do.
It's like they knew.
Yeah. So that game's pretty fun. We're probably going to play some more of that today, or maybe Deep Rock Galactic. I don't know.
Like I said,
I don't know what we're playing.
I'll just hop on whatever you guys are on because I'm not gonna be able to get on until about 10. So.
Okay. All right. So let's. Do you have anything you want to add to the intro before we get into the topics?
No. Just like he said, we've been playing Satisfactory and we did Deep Rock, but Satisfactory has pretty much taken up the rest of our time, so we have not played anything else.
It's a crazy game. Like you just want to keep building stuff. You want to keep researching stuff. There's always something new. I got to show you the awesome sync. Me and Marvel did that yesterday, and it's actually really cool. Anyway,
well, see,
never mind. I guess if you haven't played it, you don't even know what we're talking about.
With that being said, I go like 2 or 3 days before I'm able to get back on with these guys because I'm newly married. So I've been spending time with the wife, and when I do pop on, it's like the whole world is something completely different than I ever expected, and I was like, I'm not okay.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about that game. Like you literally start with just nothing, and you're on this foreign planet. You don't understand anything, and then within a couple of days, you just got this huge thing going on, and it's crazy. And we haven't even unlocked nuclear power or anything yet. So we got a long way to go.
I can't wait. I want to make our reactors overload. That's my goal.
Yeah, we got to try and blow up the planet. That's the goal.
I'm going to reenact the 100 on there. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
All right, so we're getting too distracted with Satisfactory. I think we're trying to keep these casts under an hour, and we have been failing at that. So we'll go ahead and I guess we're starting off with the Navy first.
Yeah, let's start off with the U.S. Navy and their. I like this headline: "The big beautiful new carrier has hilariously messed up toilets." That's funny.
Funny.
Oh, crap. So this news story that came out, it's a report from a government agency, said that the new USS Gerald R. Ford, which has already cost the Navy tons of money, and they've dumped a lot of stuff into this. Like it's got. Compared to the ship that I was on when I was in, this thing is just out of this world advanced. Like it has like electromagnetic flight deck so that you don't have to, they use rubber bands basically to launch ships on the old carriers. And now they're doing it with electromagnetism, which is crazy. But the report talked about the toilets on the ship and how it's become an unexpected maintenance cost because they clog too easily. So what was wrong with the toilets? Basically they have to do an acid flush through the sewage system regularly because the sailors are pooping too much, and the acid flush costs like $400,000 to do for the whole ship. And they're saying that they did not anticipate certain things, like they didn't anticipate sailors all pooping at the same time, like when they all get up in the morning or when they've all had a big meal together.
Did not anticipate human nature and natural.
Yeah, apparently they didn't anticipate what sailors and people have been doing forever. So
they did not have everybody poops read to them when they were little.
Yeah. Yeah, they never watched Scrubs. Oh, failure. So
It's just
yeah,
it's ridiculous. So I mean, you got this. I can't remember. The article won't pull up on my tablet anymore. I was gonna there's something I saw in there that just made me laugh. Is so what JD was saying, like the ship, it doesn't flush properly, so it gets clogged. So they have to dump acid, and this acid costs them $400,000 per rinse with the acid. So you're looking at a $400,000 flush for a ship, and they spent
and that might be like per day. That might be like twice per day if the sailors poop more. Like they can't even estimate like the total cost of that because they have to do it all the time.
Mm-hmm. And you get a bad day at the DFAC on the ship. I don't know what mess hall. If you get a bad day in the mess hall on the ship, everybody's going to be tearing that thing up. And apparently, the thing that I got a kick out of is like they're bragging about the ship with its new nuclear reactor can run up to 25 years without having to refuel at all, but they can't flush a toilet. So
and that's the thing. Like you have to design an aircraft carrier to stay out on the water, right? Like when we were on our ship, we stayed out I think 45 days before we hit land. You can't stay out on the water 45 days with nowhere to poop. So they have to be able to run this acid flush whenever and wherever they happen to be, which just increases the costs because it's meant to be out there, and the whole ship is ruined if you can't stay out there. So it's crazy.
No, it is. It's because they're supposed to be floating cities. They got everything a sailor needs. Now they're cramped as anything can be. I mean, I haven't been on
Except
a carrier.
For Starbucks didn't have a Starbucks.
They don't. No, because because Starbucks doesn't believe in that stuff. They don't want you guys to be happy on the ship.
I know that would be crazy. I would love a Starbucks on an aircraft carrier. I don't know how they would resupply.
I don't know if they want to do a Starbucks on an aircraft carrier if they're gonna have the poop problem. I mean, you got coffee running.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I don't know because it makes it more liquidy, so it's fine.
It won't have to add. That's your problem, USS.
We're gonna have to edit this part out. It's gross. No, I'm just kidding.
That's up to you. I do mine unedited, so that's up to you.
Yeah.
It could make it. It was
so the other part of this article is, in addition to this, there have been a lot of setbacks with the Gerald R. Ford. It hasn't been perfect coming out of the gate, and the operating costs of this thing, the lifetime sustainment costs have gone from $77.3 billion to $123 billion, just because of setbacks like clogged toilets and little things like that. That mostly just come down to the design of the ship. If they had just made the pipes a little wider in the ship, they wouldn't be having this problem.
That's all they needed too. And I read also the reason why you might be thinking, like, why don't they just redo the whole plumbing in the ship then if it's going to cost that much to flush it? Well, that means tearing the entire ship apart just to get to the plumbing.
You might as well just build a new ship.
Yeah. At this point, there is no economical solution to their crappy problem.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's, because of the way the ship's designed, every piece of the ship is put together like a puzzle, right? It's all really tightly combined, and you can't just remove one and then everything's fine. You remove a million others to get to that one, so it's kind of a pain in the butt. But that's it. That was literally the story. Clogged toilets that cost the Navy $400,000. That was it.
It is quite literally the U.S. military flushing your taxpayer dollars down the toilet.
Yeah. So
I'm proud of myself. You guys are welcome for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. And that was our podcast. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
But that's not all. Okay. We're going to talk. I'm assuming Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing next.
I wanted to end with that. End with that because
it
was more entertaining. It was like a fun way to end because it was just kind of silly. Let's talk about the NASCAR thing because that's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. And honestly, I'm surprised other sports haven't picked up on this. JD,
I am too.
JD pointed this out to me, and I ended up seeing something about it later on. So
you were actually the first one to point it out. You mentioned it. Yeah, you mentioned it first. That I think you mentioned just something that racers were watching virtual races or something
Oh,
like
that's
that.
right. That's right. People are
Yeah.
like, they discovered esports and they were like, they
Yeah.
had their minds blown about it.
And then I started looking up the details about it, and then we heard more about it like the next day, and
Yeah.
it just blew up. It's
So the
crazy.
funny thing is, again, to I guess certain things platforms won't allow us to talk about this, but on what's going on in the world right now is obviously, as a lot of us are well aware of, is shutting down a lot of things. A lot of things are canceled or postponed. A lot of sports fans are devastated right
Do
now.
you not want to say the word?
Apparently, you can't on certain platforms. So I don't know.
Why not?
I don't know. It's the same
You
thing.
can say it. What?
Okay,
That's not how this works.
COVID-19. The COVID-19.
Thank you. COVID-19, coronavirus, whatever. It's delaying sports. And if anybody who's a fan of any kind of sport knows this, like even the NFL, it's not even the on season for the NFL. It's off season, but things are still getting delayed, like the draft and different stuff like that. And they're planning to delay the start of the season and things like that. So if you're in any kind of sports, yeah, the Olympics, MLB was supposed to start this week or last week. I think Thursday.
Tuesday.
This week.
Yeah, it was Tuesday
or
or Wednesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
Because I remember opening day was trending.
So, and the other sport that's getting delayed is NASCAR and, Indy racing and stuff like that. Like the Indy 500, I'm from Indiana. So the big news was the Indy 500 got delayed till August, which I don't think has ever happened for the Indy 500, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, so NASCAR has gotten delayed and people took to virtual racing to deal with their their withdrawal of NASCAR racing. And I'm not into NASCAR. I don't really watch it, and I know Anthony doesn't either, right?
I used to when I was younger,
okay.
before Jeff Gordon retired. And since then, I haven't really. I mean, even before he retired, we stopped watching it, but we did watch it for a little bit, about 2 or 3 seasons.
And I mean, it's not like it's a super popular sport. Like millions of people watch it around the country, so it's kind of crazy that it would get delayed. But they started playing video games of NASCAR races, and it ended up actually getting picked up by Fox, and they called it the eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series. And Fox Sports said over 900,000 people ended up watching this virtual race, which is a crazy number of people to be watching a video game on TV.
I'm curious how many people watch the average NASCAR race.
Yeah, I actually looked that up too. They said the last live race was 4.6 million. So
that's still impressive. 900,000 for E-race.
I mean, 4.6 million obviously is a lot more, but 900,000 is really a good chunk of that audience right there. Yeah, that's crazy.
And the funny
and it was so successful for Fox Sports that they said they're gonna keep going with it, and they've even added. I read this part. Sorry. I got distracted here because you said you watched back when Jeff Gordon was racing, and he was actually quoted in this article.
He was one of the racers, I think. I think he actually raced.
Yeah, because he was doing the broadcasting and stuff. But shoot, where's the article? Sorry. I had a list of names.
While he looks for it, one of the cool things about this race is like these guys had full-on simulator setups where they had big TVs like they were in the race car windows. So if they look left or right, they were actually seeing the drivers side by side them. And I heard they had like in cameras inside their simulators, so you can act like you're inside the race car racing with them, and the camera would pan, and you'll see somebody from another driver pass them on the left or pass them on the right, and they had the view in front. It was actually really cool. And I guess this actually what they use, because I was seeing if it's like an EA Sports NASCAR game or if it was somebody else. But from what I understand, this is actually a whole simulator built that they thought about using to train drivers. And but now it's being used to broadcast races.
Yeah, that's neat. One thing I just wanted to point out that there were, like, it's not just like it's kids playing video games.
No.
We are talking about like real NASCAR drivers, the actual sports commentators, the normal guys that would be commentating a NASCAR race were the ones commentating. They even had Clint Boyer, who was a NASCAR Cup Series champion, doing the in-car commentary. And the next one is going to include some actual pro NASCAR drivers in the actual race, like doing the video games and stuff. The one name that they mentioned was Danny Hamlin. I don't know the name, but maybe NASCAR fans would recognize that name.
Yeah, I don't know Daniel Hamlin. They said he raced in this one along with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kurt and Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Clint Boyer, Alex Bowman, and Joey Logano. And I heard something about, I guess there's an actual German racer now in the NASCAR series.
Oh,
and I
cool.
think he's the one that won the race.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's cool. Yeah. So it's like, it's weird to think about video games as like a live television event. Like I know it's happened in the past, but this transcends stuff that's happened before. 900,000 viewers watching professional NASCAR drivers race in a video game on TV is just kind of crazy to me.
It is. And I made a comment to Mindkiller or JD when we were at DreamHack in Atlanta. I was like, I never thought. I wonder how many people thought esports would get as big as it is today. And I was talking about games like Smite, League of Legends, Fortnite, but now we're actually having actual sporting events replaced by video games. And it's not because we think video games are better. It's unfortunately the situation we're in. But I'm surprised like the NBA hasn't picked up on this, because they talked about some NBA players during their quarantine are asking people to help them set up Twitch streams so they can stream while they have nothing to do. So
yeah, I've seen that on Twitter too. Like just random like NFL players I follow or whatever. People are just tweeting like, "Hey, how do I stream video games?" So everybody's getting a little bored and they're turning to video games, which has been great for video games in some ways, and especially in this way. It's just a really cool thing to see develop. Like I imagine that viewership's so high, they might even consider, even when the actual races come back, they could consider doing events,
their own series or something. Yeah,
exactly.
Maybe even like charity all-star events or something like that. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's pretty crazy.
One thing I get a kick out of in this article, they talk about crashes and cautions were hard to avoid, especially with the iRacing rule that each car can have its damage reset twice. So they had respawn. So if they got in an accident,
oh no!
So they said drivers are being a little more aggressive than they normally are, because they're like, hey,
that's funny.
I can get my damage reset, so let's go for it.
Yeah, that's true. They don't even have to worry about paying for that car after it's been damaged. Like,
it says as a result, there were few long runs in between multiple caution. So, like, if for those of you who watch NASCAR on the regular, you know you can go hours before the next caution flag. And usually when cautions happen, it's usually near the end of the race where the drivers are getting tired. They're getting more aggressive because they're trying to get into position. Tires are being worn out. Now, they said there was hardly any long runs because the drivers are constantly running into each other just to get into position. So
that's funny. If you're listening and you're interested in this, they're going to be doing it again next Sunday, and you could just look up Fox Sports either on your TV or they have an app, and they also do it in Canada, so you can watch it pretty much anywhere you want. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and they're saying the people who are getting into this are following on Twitter. Some of the drivers are even tweeting about it. So you just follow your favorite driver. I'm sure they're probably mentioning something about it out there. If any of you are interested in NASCAR, and maybe if you're just a diehard video game fan and think this is really cool that your favorite hobby is getting into the limelight now, a little more than usual.
It's a good way to just support video games in general. If you're that kind of person, you could probably hop on to like a NASCAR chat with other people and talk to them while the race is going on. So that'd be fun.
Yeah, so it was a fun little interesting. I know there's a lot of darkness and depression going around with this COVID stuff, and it's kind of like an interesting, fun story to go along with, like how this is actually going to reshape our society as a whole in general. It's just everything's going to change because of this.
Definitely, things are changing. And now we'll get to a story that has nothing to do with anything relevant at all. It's Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing.
And the only thing these two games share in common is they've released on the same day. Other than that, I don't know how else they crossed over, but they did.
Yeah, and just a brief, like if you don't know what either of those games are, I'm sure if you're listening to this because you're a gamer, you know what Doom is. And Doom Eternal just took Doom to a whole new level. Like I've watched, I haven't played it, but I've watched the gameplay, and you're bouncing from demon to demon, you're ripping out eyeballs, you're chainsawing people in half, you're lighting people on fire. And that's just like one room. And then you're doing it all over again in the next room.
To some heavy metal music.
Right. It's heavy music, it's blood and guts and gore and just all of that. And for all of what it is there, Animal Crossing New Horizons is the exact opposite. Like it is cartoony, you can't hurt anybody. You have little animal people that you talk to and you sit around picking trees, shaking trees for branches so that you can sell things and build little tables for your house. Like it's the complete opposite. It's such a chill game. Animal Crossing is such a chill game that it literally has time based events built into it. So you have to wait a day just to do like the next mission because they don't want you to play it very long. It's a very casual game. Whereas Doom Eternal is complete opposite of casual. So
You become a sweat boy real quick.
yeah. And the reason we're mentioning that and the reason we're talking about it at all is because of the two games releasing on the same day, it started a sort of internet meme, I guess, where the
Weird
two are
crossover.
crossing over. Uh, they even there was like a subreddit created for it. People are making fan videos. There's a main character in Animal Crossing named Isabel. And so people are doing like her going out drinking with the Doomslayer, like, things like that. Um, and what was the article you shared? I didn't load that one. There was one that you posted.
Polygon. It's Polygon talk
Yeah,
about
Polygon, right.
Animal.
Do it.
It's Animal Crossing New Horizons is now a horror game thanks to fans. But before I get into the article, I just want to add to like the crossover stuff. The funny thing is like people did fan art of Isabel going into GameStop to pre-order Doom Eternal, and one thing that drives me nuts. I haven't looked hard enough, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. It didn't Doom start with the guy going into hell because his bunny got sucked in there. Why hasn't anybody done like an Animal Crossing bunny and the Doom guy?
True. Well, Isabel is a bunny, I think, right?
Is she? Maybe that's what I'm missing.
Kind of like that. Maybe that's why they included her because she's kind of bunny looking.
Yeah, that might be why.
Yeah, they kind of abandoned the bunny story, I think, which is too bad.
Yeah, because the last one, Doom 2016, didn't mention anything about the bunny really. So
yeah, now it's like a whole religion or something, and like he was like created to fight these guys and stuff. I don't know, something weird.
It was this company. It's a religion thing, and then there's a company that is found out they can get renewable energy from hell, and it opened up a portal into Doom.
It's almost always it. Every time hell gets opened, it's because somebody thinks they can get renewable energy out of it. Like, just build a solar panel, guys. Stop digging into hell. I don't understand this.
Windmills, solar panels, something like that. It just But anyway, this. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. You're fine.
Yeah, this article on Polygon is talking about, so people have, like JD says, this game is supposed to be casual. It's supposed to be a stereotypical family-friendly game for Nintendo. Like, you think Nintendo and Animal Crossing screams it through and through. Because Nintendo, though, I think, didn't Doom end up on Doom 2016? I think ended up on the Switch.
I'm sure it did. Everything ended up on the Switch eventually.
But Nintendo's always been known as like the family-friendly system for the most part, and with the exception, I think Resident Evil was on there a few times, and but fans have kind of, because of this new feature in Animal Crossing, have taken it to a whole new level, and it's not so family-friendly anymore. So Animal Crossing New Horizons, you can make your own custom shirts and paintings and drawings and photographs to post in your home. I guess you build a house or something and you can customize the house as you go, and people use this feature to enable to add like art and stuff in your home. There's like a program inside Animal Crossing. It's like Microsoft Paint, and you can design stuff in Microsoft Paint or Photoshop. And then you can put it in the game, and it's supposed to be meant for putting on your shirt or your clothing to make, cool clothing or
you can make like a flag for your island and stuff like that. Yeah.
But people demented that. It's now used. People have made blood splatter textures through it.
That's funny.
Like there's one particular one. Apparently, I had to ask a friend about it because a friend at work, because he plays Animal Crossing. There's a picture. It looked like Daffy Duck, No, Donald Duck. It looked like Donald Duck with the whole sailor suit and everything. This animal is washed up on the shore like Link from Zelda. And
Yeah, he's part of the storyline.
yeah. And I was like, did somebody make like a Donald Duck and did they just kill him? Because in there's a particular tweet, somebody went up to it's a pelican apparently, but in the same sailor costume, went up to him, put the blood splatter mark behind his head, and he's standing over the body with an axe. Like he murdered the pelican on the beach. And so people are taking this blood splatter. It's like one guy, he's in a doctor's costume. He's got blood all over his shirt. And the wall has got bloody handprints all over it. It says, "Please help." And the tweet says, "The animals are attacking. I can't get out. I've been locked up for days. Please send help." And so it's like people are getting really demented with it.
See, one of the features of Animal Crossing, like you said, you get your own house and you can expand it over time. Like it starts as a tent, then it turns into a house, then you get an extra room. And one of the features of Animal Crossing, like the main thing really, is that you can unlock hundreds, if not thousands, of items that you can use to decorate your house. And it's everything from like TVs to dinosaur skulls to Stonehenge, like all these random items. But what ends up happening is because there's so many items, people find ways to combine those in really weird and creepy ways. There's one guy I watch on Twitch named Orator who has turned his entire island into a nuclear wasteland by buying all of the barrels, tires, old boots, and campfires that he can and scattering them around the island. And there's like, you can buy flooring for your floor, for like rugs for your house. And there's rugs with like abandoned highway road, and a rug with like a garbage heap. And so he spread those like on the ground on his island. So the whole thing just looks like a big trash heap and rubbish. So, and that's what people are doing. The one thing I wanted to talk about with this is the weirdest part about this is if you break down these two stories, regardless of the graphics, regardless that Doom is gory and gross and all about killing things, and Animal Crossing is peaceful and chill and relaxing. If you break down the stories, they're really very opposite, because Doom is a hero story. Doom is about a guy trying to save the earth. He's trying to get rid of the demons and get rid of hell, and he's just doing it in a very rough way. Animal Crossing is about a guy that leaves society, flies to his own private island owned by this dude named Tom Nook. He goes into debt. He manipulates the stock market. He has to pay his way out of the debt, and he is basically being a criminal flying to other islands to loot them for everything they're worth while growing his own money trees. So really, Animal Crossing is the more evil game of the two. Just wanted to point that out.
Just on a different level.
I think I even saw a headline that said Animal Crossing is the best way to teach your kids about debt. Because that's all it is. The whole game is constantly about debt. Yeah. Everything you do, as soon as you get to the island, this Tom Nook guy is like, "Hey, you want a tent?" And you're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, that's going to cost you." And then he's like, "Why don't you build a shop on the island?" "Oh, that's going to cost you." "Oh, you want a house?" "That's going to cost you 3 times as much." Like
finding ways to scheme you out of the money that you have.
Yeah, pretty much. So I just thought that was funny.
So it has a dark side in its story, and then a dark side in how players are handling the whole game is what you're telling me.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, though some people are doing some really cool things. Like a guy was trying to make a horror haunted house kind of look to his house, and he says without realizing it, he accidentally made his house look like Castlevania's house. Like nice. It actually looks like a scene out of Castlevania. He's got the high arch windows, candles everywhere. Another thing people are doing, put like satanic ritual symbols all over the ground too, like they're about to do. It's like you're seeing it out of Doom itself, because Doom, one of the things you do to level up or do different abilities, you find these satanic symbols glowing somewhere and you activate them. And these people are just putting them all over the floors inside Animal Crossing.
That's funny.
It's been a huge kick.
That's the way to do it. Yeah, it's a great crossover. If you enjoy demonic imagery and evil people and taking advantage of the unfortunate, you should play Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Well, and he says he jokes about that. One of the things I mentioned in my original tweet for the show we were going to do on Wednesday that was supposed to happen Wednesday, but is now happening today, is we got a kick out of this. Like, everybody's taking these cute, innocent-looking characters in Animal Crossing and making them look demented, sickening, scary, creepy. But then in Doom, if you have Amazon Prime and Twitch Prime linked together, you can get yourself a unicorn skin for your Doom guy, and he has wings.
We forgot the unicorn skin.
Yeah, he has wings, the horn on his head, and he's all
like
rainbows.
a rainbow motif.
So you got Doom for being all cutesy and innocent with its character, and then Animal Crossing, which they didn't intend this to happen, but the players took it upon themselves to make it happen.
I know. I hope the two companies work together and they come out with like a Animal Crossing Doom skin.
That would be great. Awesome.
And a Doom Slayer Animal Crossing costume would be fun too.
It would be.
It would be great.
And there's actually, even on Twitter, there's like, if you look up Animal Crossing, everybody's posting their creepy photos of Animal Crossing all over Twitter. So if you want to see what we're talking about, just look up Animal Crossing New Horizons on Twitter. You'll find them. Trust me, they're there.
That's so funny.
I
wanted to circle back real quick about the first story about the Navy ship. I just read a little tidbit that makes me sad. So
is it making you sad because your former Navy alma mater?
No, I don't care. So not only is the Gerald R. Ford having this problem, but the ship coming after it that is still being worked on, the John F. Kennedy, also has this problem. That also has the sewage problem, and it's far too along in its process to have it changed.
So that's two ships
that will be spending $400,000 a day on acid flushing for sailors. Those sailors better be on some good diets to cut down on our costs.
I don't know. I told my airman about it. She's like, they're in the middle of the ocean. Why don't they just hang their butts over the edge of the ship and just take their dumps that way?
Yeah, that would look good. Pulling into port in Japan with some dude like hanging his butt off the side, letting one go.
Taking a massive dump.
Yeah, that definitely won't result in people falling overboard and getting sucked up into the
turbines.
Propellers. Yeah, turbines. Yeah, that'll go real well.
See, now the sad thing is the government and the military is really stubborn. So you guys may think in a year or so these ships would be decommissioned because it's going to be too expensive. No, they're going to find a reason to keep them going.
Yeah, they're not going to. These ships are going to be good for 50 years. That's 50 years or 300 years of $400,000 acid flushes.
I mean, look at the F-22s and F-35s. They were plagued with issues on release, but we're still determined. In fact, we converted the F-22 into a ground strike aircraft just to make it like Congress is like, why do we spend money on this? We haven't used it yet. So the military is like, hey, let's turn it into a ground strike aircraft and show why we spent all this money on it by spending more money on it.
Yep. And they'll find a way.
Yep.
So that's it. I think we're done, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's
a couple of funny stories mostly today, so that's good.
Lighten people's moods a bit.
Yeah. What else you got? Anything else you want to add?
No, I think we're good with our outro. Just the normal, guys. Make sure if you got questions or anything. I'm trying to figure out. I'm actually not that Twitter savvy, so I'm trying to figure out how I can get notified when NTWP.
Hold on, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Always near the end, I break up.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I was trying to get more. I'm not very Twitter savvy, so I'm trying to figure out how I can figure out when to be notified when hashtags are used, because we keep telling you guys to use NTWP, and I completely realize, how am I supposed to know when you guys are using it unless I'm actively searching for it every day? And I'm too lazy to actively search for hashtags every day. So I'm going to try to figure out how I can keep an eye on it. But with that being said, if you guys got any questions or interesting stories, like we say at the end of every episode, hit us up with NTWP, and we'll try to get to them. If we don't use them the next episode, it's either because it was not an okay question or article or something that we know would violate policies on the platforms we release on, so we don't want to do that, or we don't have enough time to get it to them all. So, and also with that, I just thought of something and I forgot. So you go ahead and do your intro. I'm gonna try to remember what I was gonna say. I remember
Yeah,
now.
I'll do my intro. I'm gonna do it now. You can't stop me. I'm doing an intro.
This is Mind Killer with YouTube.
Yeah.
I
What were you gonna
remember
say?
for those of you who are into video games, and if you're not petty and bitter about the whole Epic versus Steam game launcher, Epic does have 3 new games, and one of them is World War Z. So I figured it'd be kind of neat to maybe every now and then mention free games for people if they want to go grab them, like on Steam or Epic. It doesn't cost a subscription or anything. You just download the launcher, look at the news, and I don't know if it was once a month or once a week they release new free games or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty regularly. I'm not sure exactly what the interval is, but they do it pretty often.
Mm-hmm. So if you guys are into it, I'll download any free game no matter what it is. So, but
right.
if you want World War Z and don't feel like paying the money for it, it's free. I didn't see how long it is, but check out the Epic Game Launcher, and you'll see it in there. And that's all I got. I mean, we'll try to get this posted by Saturday, but with this recording so late, it'd probably be late being posted too. So
yeah, maybe. But we'll see. We'll see how the weekend goes.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I don't have anything else to add. Thank you for listening and watching. If you're watching the stream on Anthony's Twitch, and yeah, use hashtag NTWP and let us know what you think or ask us any questions. That's it.
Have a good one,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Wash your hands.